Oh, you're doing the silence
Yeah,
now.
fuck you, man. Restart.
From Provo, Utah, this is the Ultimate Final Fantasy
Stop!
Podcast.
What?
The Skype.
What about it?
The intro.
We're gonna play that after. Are we gonna really replace?
Why would you play
our
that after?
song?
That's not a question. It's an intro.
No, I was gonna play it after the intro song. I was gonna be instead of saying "Welcome to the Ultima."
Oh, see, for me, it was going to be play that thing and then play the song.
Oh, yeah, that's a decent idea. I didn't even think of that. I thought of replacing us being like "Welcome to blah 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 blah." Blah.
Well, then it'd be weird because then we'd have to start talking.
All right,
Yeah, play the Skype thing first, but I still have to. Now I have to do 10 more seconds of silence.
Okay.
Okay?
Wait. Okay, that's the one. Wait. Is it?
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Now there's going to be 10 seconds of silence.
Oh shit.
What?
Fucking.
Technical difficulties.
No, it's not a technical difficulty. It's I gotta
No?
rename the thing.
Oh,
Fuck, man.
what episode is this?
57.
57. Okay. What in the world? I don't know. I don't know. My apologies to our YouTube audience. The episode will start in a second. For our iTunes audience, you don't even know this happened. I don't know. I don't know. Stop the feedback. Stop it. Okay. Okay. It's all about the FF7 remake that was announced at E3. Oh, yeah, some good water right there. You know, the mixer mixes the episodes so loud. Like watching it on Twitch is just like, unless you turn it down, which I assume most people do, they're going to get to that and it'll be like, and then they're going to turn it down.
Yeah.
Shit.
More
Okay.
than likely.
Well, it's my intro, but you got the. You do that every time I have something like highlighted on for purpose.
I didn't mess with it. It was still highlighted.
You clicked off the highlight.
I didn't.
You did. You don't need to prove it to me. It's just a paragraph in the middle of the screen, so we're okay.
No.
You can exit out of that window, but.
No.
Oh, yeah, proof? Yeah,
Proof,
exactly. Proof. Exit.
All right.
Okay, we ready now?
Yes, we're ready.
Give it 10 seconds of silence, and then do that. Then as soon as that's done, do
That
the
intro.
other one.
All right,
Yep.
fine. We'll do it your way.
Hello, my name is Stephen Hawkins. Before I found this podcast, I was planning to kill myself. But if you two can make a decent podcast, then maybe one day I can have an erection again. With that, let me welcome you to the UFF Podcast, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.
From Provo, Utah, this is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schwein. Yeah! This is Ultima Final Fantasy.
Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. I am Joe.
And I am Caleb.
And today we're going to be talking about the remake announcement for FF7. Full-on remake.
Yep, not just the HD reskin, but a legit remake.
All right, and by the way, we are broadcasting this over Twitch live for everyone to see if they so desire. We're back to the old days of doing all the episodes with video.
Yep.
So,
but this time it'll be a lot better because it won't be as much in between. Hopefully we'll try to keep it a solid hour and a half of recording as opposed to 5 hours of us dicking around for 3 of it.
Because we do the shows, of course, live anyway, so the video is not a big deal, except I don't want to be staring at myself, so if you could minimize that screen, that would be fantastic. Thank you, Caleb. All right. Just so you know, we are a weekly Final Fantasy podcast for those of you who are just joining us for this special episode, I'm sure. I'm sure you heard the FF7 Remake announcement and you were like, oh, I better look up at Final Fantasy on podcast today. And I'm sure that for many of you, this will be your first episode. So you can find us at YouTube, youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. You can follow us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. If you want to like us there, you get all of our podcasts, including Getting Fat with Caleb and Joe and Super Sexy Swinging Fanfiction.
If you have the stomach for it.
If you have the stomach for it, all that's there too. You can support us on Patreon if you want. Just go to patreon.com, search Ultima Final Fantasy. We just hit a brand new goal, which is the exact reason why we are now streaming on Twitch live.
Yeah, we just barely got another patron. Thank you, Chocobo Chica, by the way. We forgot to dedicate it to her, but
no, we'll dedicate another episode.
All right,
to
that's
her.
fine.
I feel like we should,
the reviews.
We dedicate reviews or spotlights.
All right,
those are
the major
dedication
ones.
episodes. Yeah, and we you can also go to Twitch. Check us out there. Is it twitch.com or twitch.tv/Ultima Final Fantasy?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Okay, all right.
You can just search it, you'll find it.
All right, and for everything, go to ultimafinalfantasy.com and join our forums at ultimafinalfantasy.boards.net, or just go to ultimafinalfantasy.com. Everything, all these links that I just said, it's all there
on the site. Yep,
it's all on the site.
and you can subscribe to the site directly for updates. But yeah, you know.
So as far as our personal updates, where are you in Final Fantasy 12?
I just barely took out Dr. Sidolphus.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was a fun fight. He does a lot of damage. He does like crits with his gun, and then he's got those little things flying around him, and those guys are dicks.
Does he count their dicks? Actual dicks.
They're like just going at me. I'm just like, oh,
that is inappropriate.
your son is in this fight. But
Does he really count as a Cid if his name is Sidolphus?
yeah, I think he's the Cid of the game.
Okay, yeah.
Al Cid is not the Cid, although he's pretty awesome. I remember him bugging me last time, but this time he's sweet because he's got like sunglasses and he's kind of like rude in Advent Children. His glasses get broken and his glasses don't get broken, but he has this chick follow him around carrying his glasses for him. And he motions and she just pulls him out and throws him on and then he leaves. He's like a Russian. It's
I
really
don't
weird.
remember that part at all.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Dude,
but
my
it was
eyes are
yesterday.
glazing over if I hear the word Nethicite or
Yeah.
the Dawn Shard. I'm just like, oh, what's going on? I don't
So, yeah.
understand.
It's a lust for power. They're powerful trinkets. They destroy a lot of stuff. And they're trying to keep them out of the enemy's hands.
Okay.
And Ash is obsessed with them and wants to use them herself.
All right.
Because she's evil.
All right.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I am making pretty good progress. I got through that airship that Sid is in one sitting. I just like dominated it. And I remember last time I was like, geez, this was a pain. No guide for the most part. The only time I use the guide is when I'm like, okay, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And I'm like, all right, this is the map that I don't have. So I go up there.
I haven't used a guide yet. I just barely got the Dawn Shard.
Okay.
And I'm fighting Vossler right now.
Oh,
So-
okay. Yeah.
And he kicked my butt. So I got to figure out like better gambits or level up a little bit. Not sure what I have to do. Pretty much every time we do an update, I'm always stuck on some kind of boss, I feel like.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've only died to 2 bosses, I think.
Because when I get stuck on a boss, I just don't want to play. I'm like,
Well, the problem
this
too, the thing with 12 that we're not used to yet, I feel, is when we die, we don't have to watch the cutscenes again. So it seems like we've lost 40 minutes of our time, our day, and really we haven't. So I don't know. That's kind of nice about it.
okay, well, we do have a lot of news this week from E3. So let's get to that. It's number 3.
news.
So, what's
So-
new, Caleb?
Well, first up in news, the Final Fantasy VII PS4 port has been delayed.
Why?
They don't say.
Okay.
It just says it's been delayed. Previously planned for spring, will now launch this winter. Furthermore, Square Enix announced that a release of 7 is also planned for iOS. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be nice for those iOS players. I wonder when it comes to Android. Is it already on Android?
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, so next up we have some news about Kingdom Hearts Unchained Chi coming west. I remember us talking about this.
It's
one a little
coming
while
what?
ago. Coming west. That's what the freaking thing is called.
Way to go, Gamatsu. It's coming.
Gamoran. But yeah, so this is the first
Coming to
smartphone.
the west.
Yes.
Yes.
This is the first smartphone entry in the Square Enix Disney Hyper series.
So we will never play it.
No, we will not. And it looks kind of interesting. I mean, you can actually create your own character, and it's going to fit somewhere in the timeline. There's a little timeline thing on here, but
Okay.
we don't really care about that. We'll probably touch it more when we actually get into Kingdom Hearts.
Ooh, we'll touch it.
Yeah, oh, man. Oh. Well, now I just feel wrong. But speaking of Kingdom Hearts 3, there's a new E3 trailer for it.
Oh, speaking of Kingdom Hearts, there's
Yeah.
a new E3 trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3. We were
It's
talking
true.
about Chi.
Well, that's in between the stories
You
of...
know, like, this is all in the super messy show all of a sudden.
Well, it's Kingdom Hearts, man.
Yeah, I
Nobody
think
cares.
it's because of the video. I think it's like making us nervous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Let's watch this trailer.
let's do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do a little reaction here.
Peggy 16 or whatever. Probably not on this one, huh?
That's probably like Peggy 2.
This trailer represents a game currently in development. Disney.
Have you heard of the ancient Keyblade War? Yeah, the Master's favorite story. So,
So,
you know the Lost Masters. They're the ones who started the Keyblade War.
two guys I don't
Never
know
heard of
playing a game of chess?
It's like a 3D chess. It's weird.
And some gameplay. It looks a lot like the old Kingdom Hearts. Just a lot better looking
Oh, yeah.
graphically. Let's turn that baby down just a little bit. Running through fields. Getting some of the Heartless going with his Keyblade. He just jumped
Jumping
off
off
a
mountains.
huge mountain. There's Goofy and Donald. They're in for some kind of like super attack together.
Oh, we're all running?
Yeah, he's walling up. It looks like he's fighting something from Hercules, fighting a Titan.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Shadow of the Colossus style, too.
Yeah, kind of does look like that. Not quite the same. He's not crawling up and then getting whipped around.
Doesn't have the awesome blood fountain either.
No. I believe this next area is from Tangle?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Like the Rapunzel movie from Disney from a few years ago.
Right, right.
In case you guys forgot about Tangled after watching Frozen.
Tangled was funny.
Yeah, I like Tangled. So basically, just a really good-looking version of Kingdom Hearts, I'd say.
Yeah.
So, based upon how great those games are, I'm sure this game is going to be fantastic.
Oh, cool little teacup thing going on.
Come on, dude! I can't do a Goofy impersonation. I wish I
On
could.
that land shall darkness prevail and light expire.
Checkmate.
It's already been written. Who's to say I can't change it? And maybe light will prevail. There's more light than meets the eye. You might be surprised.
The voices don't match the faces.
No.
Okay, when I saw that, I think they're two kings against each other. Across from each other, and I was like, they suck at chess if that's the case, but obviously they're not playing chess. The first time I watched this, I was like, stupid move.
Yeah.
So I think Kingdom Hearts 3 looks pretty good. I know you haven't played any of the Kingdom Hearts games.
I've seen gameplay, but...
Okay. How does that look to you? I mean, does it look interesting?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm a fairly decent Disney fan, honestly. I enjoy a lot of their material, and I like Square Enix for the most part, so it should be a great mashup. And I've heard fantastic things about them.
Yeah, especially 1 and 2, I'd say.
Yeah,
Especially
the spin-offs.
Yeah.
They weren't quite as available, so it's not as frequent that we hear giant praise for them. But I'm sure people love them. So there's also a massive interview where Tetsuya Nomura and Tai Yasue talk Kingdom Hearts 3 and Unchained Chi at E3.
Yeah, there's also a big interview with him on the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, which I just couldn't read it all.
No, yeah, I didn't read it all either. I mean, they've got a timeline. If you guys are really into the Kingdom Hearts games, it'll kind of tell you where Chi is going to go, and obviously Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be the most recent in the timeline.
So if you want to look up more, you just go on our forums and look at the news that Shinru posted up. So thank you, Shinru. And he has that whole interview where they're talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 and Kingdom Hearts Chi.
Correct,
and all that other stuff. So yeah, basically it's going to be a huge deal, Kingdom Hearts 3.
It's going to be a massive game. And apparently they're really working on cutting back loading times. I know this is obvious for next-gen consoles, but they're making a big step.
Yeah, loading times in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 were kind of a big problem.
Yeah, that's what I had heard too. And I mean, they're really trying to get that out of the way with the technology. And I'm pretty excited. It looks really good. I mean, it doesn't look 15 good, but it's also animated, so...
It's a different looking type of a game. It's more cartoony.
Doesn't make it bad, but...
As anime-esque as Final Fantasy 15 is, it's definitely more realistic.
Oh, yeah.
Of a feel to the
artwork. Yeah, the art
artwork.
style, yeah. It's...
So, you're kind of judging apples and oranges
no,
if you're
going
to judge the looks of the games.
I'm just saying it's hard to see comparatively because I haven't really played much of it, or any of 1 and 2, so...
You haven't played
really
any? Like, any at all?
Nuh-uh. I was never...
You're missing out.
I was never that interested.
You're missing
before.
out. We are going to get to the Kingdom Hearts series. It's going to be one of the last games we play in this series of Ultima Final Fantasy. The Ultimate Final Fantasy podcast.
At the very tail end, I will finally know what all the hype about Kingdom Hearts is.
Yes.
All right, so there was also another announcement for a Final Fantasy game. World of Final Fantasy was announced for PS4 and PS Vita. And I mean, essentially, this just looks like a kind of a callback thing. I mean, there's little miniature characters, and
everyone's saying they're chibi-sized. Not sure what that means. I think it's like cutesy anime.
Yeah, the little chibi action figures. Have you never seen those? They're like mini.
Oh yeah.
That's what they are.
Okay.
So we're gonna watch the trailer for big heads. We're gonna watch the trailer for this as well.
All right.
Let's make sure it's not quite as loud.
Anata wa something. Okay. It looks like a sequel to Kingdom Hearts all of a sudden.
Yeah, there's Sora and Chick.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Look at them. Look at the way they walk.
So basically, little Final Fantasy characters and a whole bunch of landscapes walking around. The Moogles have huge noses. I don't know what's going on.
Iron Giant.
It looks like regular turn-based battle, but we're not seeing any of the HUD in this trailer.
Oh, there's Cloud. Going
oh my goodness, it is like a chibi Cloud.
Looks like they evolve into full-sized people.
Bahamut, I heard that.
World of Final Fantasy.
Well, that looks interesting. Do we know when it's coming out for?
2016.
Oh, PS4 and PS
Yeah,
Vita. PS4?
Yeah.
Did that look like a PS4 game to you?
Not really.
I thought that was going to be a mobile game.
Yeah.
That was the first time I watched that trailer.
I saw it on the...
I'm so not that interested into that game. But
really?
If it's coming to PS4, I guess we have to play it.
Yeah. Apparently you can stack... I mean, you can... Like I was saying, it looked like they can increase their size and stuff like that. That is apparently something that happens. You can, attack people that are bigger and ride monsters. Customize the stacking... I don't know. There's not a whole lot of info on this, but it looks kind of cool. But I don't know. I thought it was going to be a mobile game too until the very end of the trailer, and I was like, PS4, like Vita, sure, but yeah. And apparently they're going to use a modified active time battle system for this game. So it'll be something more like the current gen, and yeah. And the newer art style is supposed to draw in a younger audience, so they can get into Type 0 and play a gore fest.
Interesting.
So I guess we'll see how that goes. I mean, I was kind of thinking about this, like our show, we're semi-vulgar sometimes, and it's a teen-rated game series, but really,
Hey, Type 0 is rated M.
it's true. But the audience, I don't feel is children. Like I don't think they are anymore. Most of the people.
Well, the first game came out in the late '80s. So yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
It's not really like going mature is not a bad move really at this point because most of the fans of the series are a mature audience. Now I understand getting people into it a little easier where they can play a game, legally, so to speak, and then get them into the series and they're all teens, so it's not a big deal. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they started pushing more rated M games.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I wouldn't have been attracted to that sort of game when I was 13.
I don't think I would have either.
Yeah,
I would have been.
My favorite movie was like The Matrix and like dark.
I would have been less appealing.
Violent things I like.
It's probably more appealing to me now than it would be back then. I'm like, what is this? Like when I first saw the Crystal Chronicle games, I was like, oh my god. Like the artwork on it, I was like, this is gonna suck. This looks like a cheesy 12.
All right, so I think it's time for us to get into our discussion. Let's talk about Final Fantasy VII's remake.
Let's do it.
Okay, so for you at home who have no idea what's going on, what we usually do, we usually cut the show right then. We only have one cut instead of what we used to do. It was like a million cuts. We have one cut where we can put in some kind of remix track because, like, every discussion is going to be slightly different. They're going to have different sort of topics.
Yeah.
So we can't just have, like, one jingle for discussion unless we have a jingle that just says discussion.
Yeah, but that would be lame.
Usually have, like, some sort of remix. A lot of other podcasts do, like, actual pieces from the games into that section. Sometimes we do that too, but
yeah, or some remixes that are so similar that it's like,
they just kind of remixed it.
Yeah, it just sounds a little better.
It sounds different.
Yeah,
at that rate. So anyway, we're gonna cut the show now.
Do you need to take a break or anything?
I don't know. Do we got anybody watching? Probably not, huh?
I don't know.
Everyone was waiting at like 10 a.m. Hey!
It's Zod Wacket.
Will the fire...
Oh.
Is the fireplace really up? Where was the fireplace at?
I think the corner of it might be popping into that.
Okay. Oh, no. Did you stop the fireplace?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, goodness. That's why that... Okay. The reason the fireplace video is there, we're having, like, some technical difficulties today. Like, if you watch the last part of Getting Fat, it's going to be silent, but I'm going to be, like, freaking out about, like, different chords and stuff like that. Yeah, serious sound issues today, and it's coming from the computer. And every time the computer doesn't have a video going on, it starts making this annoying buzzing sound, and it just makes no sense as to why it's doing it. None whatsoever. So that's why there was a fireplace. We didn't realize it was coming into the video, though. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was Adam. He followed us yesterday.
Adam?
Yeah, the guy we used to play games with on PC. The deep voice dude that played Christian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he added us.
Oh, Zodwacket. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I know the name Zodwacket.
But yeah, I don't know if he's still here. It says...
How many viewers do we have?
It says none.
Oh.
No one cares.
No one cares about the fireplace. Does the
know
fireplace come back on if you move the freaking window?
It might. That might have been what was going on.
Minimize it then, or something. Because there shouldn't be any fireplace in the minimization of it. Come here. Oh, I mean minimize our face.
Oh.
Okay, we ready to talk about Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So as you know already, I'm sure, Final Fantasy VII's remake was announced at E3 this year. Just a few days ago, I remember being at work, and you called me, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I called you and I said they did it. And they're doing a full remake.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Wasn't too excited.
No, I wasn't too excited. And then I got texts from Caleb and Dylan. They were like, remake, like with like big exclamation points. And I just put
Yeah.
EH as my response. I know this is like, everybody's freaking out about this. I know a lot of people on the forum are super excited for it. I'm probably the bummer guy about this Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, it's... Final Fantasy VII is Final Fantasy VII, and you can update the graphics on it, but if you add voice acting or new cutscenes or new story elements, it might still be 7, and it might not.
Yeah.
You could screw it up big time.
Yeah, I don't know. The way I'm going to approach it, and I was the same way before, and I still am. I don't want them to mess anything up, and I feel like there's a good chance that that'll happen, but I'm going to treat it as a remake and not as the replacement for the original. Regardless of what anyone at their fucking company tells me, it's like, this is the true 7. Yeah, coming from someone that doesn't have necessarily the authority to say that. Although they did talk to Kitase and them, and they said that Advent Children complete is fine. Even though it's completely different than the game.
Okay.
Whatever. But as long as you take it with a grain of salt and approach it as a different telling of it, I don't know. The thing I'm going to liken it to is the Game of Thrones versus the book versus the show. They're two alternate universes of the same end story. And that's how the only way I'm going to be able to find positivity in the change of gameplay or
There's very
whatever.
few examples of someone remaking their own thing. I can think of, I think the filmmaker Ozu, I think remade a couple of his movies when he went to color. And I believe the Ten Commandments, the movie, there was a silent version of it, and then of course the big one we all know with Charlton Heston.
Mm-hmm.
That was the remake, and it was by the same dude.
Okay.
So
an advancement technology, kind of the same as what's going on here.
that's really, there's very few examples of that.
So far,
being
it's been
done.
fairly well received, I think, out of all of those. I mean, the Game of Thrones show is fantastic. The book is fantastic. They're not the same, but it's not a big
Yeah,
deal.
but they're switching media in that realm.
True. In this realm, they're staying the same.
They're both games.
Yeah, they're both.
And they're games we can get a hold of just fine. It's not like 7 is super archaic. I know we got like Popeye arms, but it's still a functioning game. It's not
Yeah.
Pong. It's not the machine Pong. It's yeah.
I don't know. So you're kind of lukewarm about it.
I'm lukewarm about it, but let's revisit this trailer.
All right.
That I drove home from work just to watch.
All right, let's do it.
May contain content inappropriate for children. Got a bird flying in the air.
Long ago, we looked up a winged sky. The memory of the star that threatened all burns eternal in our hearts. In its wake came an age of silence.
Producer Kitase.
Yet with each fond remembrance, we knew those encountered were not forgotten.
The scenario written by Nojima.
That someday we would see them again. Perhaps it was no more than wishful thinking.
And the director, Nomura.
Music sounds
But after the
awesome.
long calm,
The music's
there are
from the
now
Advent Children
beginnings of
soundtrack.
stir.
I know.
The reunion at hand may bring joy. It may bring fear. But let us embrace whatever it brings. For they are coming back. At last, the promise has been made.
Remake.
All right, you can stop the video. More to come this winter. So the next time we get an update on any of this information about the game, besides what Nomura has said during E3, it'll be winter. So hopefully we get to see some gameplay. That's the thing that's scaring me the most, I think.
Yeah, you don't want it to be like 15.
Not really. Where they just show CGI cutscenes for forever.
No,
Is that
I
what
mean,
you're talking about?
I'm talking the gameplay of 15.
Oh, the gameplay. Well, we can talk about that in a little bit here. The first thing I want to say is that voiceover where he was talking about it's been a reunion. I don't think that's taken from the game. I think that's a voiceover for the trailer. As far as
where we are in the 7 story.
where we are as players having dealt with 7 before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a reunion, so we're going to revisit FF7 again. That's what it's saying. I don't think it's saying, hey, this is going to be like a flash forward kind of flashback sort of approach to Final Fantasy VII, which I was seeing some of that stuff in the forums, and I'm like, nah, I'm not getting any of that.
Yeah, this time I paid a little more attention to it, and yeah, I think it's just going to be a full remake of 7.
Yeah, it's a full remake of 7. I don't think there's any confusion about it.
I'm sure they're gonna include more of the things that weren't necessarily, they didn't jive with the spin-offs, because that's what happens when they remake a game. They're like, oh yeah, we got to make this all work, which kind of okay, kind of like, why couldn't you do the spin-offs to where they made sense, but whatever. So I'm sure there'll be some changes, but yeah, this is going to be a total remake of 7. It's not going to be after Advent Children and after Dirge and after all that crap.
Yeah, and it's probably not going to be an amalgamation of all things either. I bet it's just going to be 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll just look really good, at the very least.
Hopefully that's it.
Graphically, it will, yeah.
So our staff on the original Final Fantasy VII, I believe it was Kitase as director and co-scenario writer with Nojima.
Yes.
And that was like them.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first game that Nomura did the character art for.
Right. After Amano had done it for the previous 6 games.
Correct, yeah.
And he was the youngest member of the staff back then, and now he is the director of Final Fantasy VII. Nojima, of course, is still the scenario writer. However, Kitase is not getting that credit. Kitase is producing this game, but he's producing most of the Final Fantasy games, as he is head of, I think, a business management or business development at Square Enix.
Yeah,
he's no longer like in creative control of departments. He's now he's now upper management.
Yeah.
So he's not directing this version of Final Fantasy VII, which I think is unfortunate. I don't know why Nomura was picked to direct the Final Fantasy VII remake.
I don't know, probably because of Advent Children.
Yeah, he was in charge of Advent Children. We all know how wonderful that movie is.
Yeah.
Because Hajime Tabata, he did Crisis Core.
He did, yeah.
He was the director on that. And had someone else was the director for Dirge of Cerberus.
I can't remember what
It wasn't any of them. We looked it up this morning just to see if Nomura fucked up again, but it wasn't him. So, how do you feel about Nomura taking on this task as opposed to Kitase?
I don't know. I mean, the things that we have to pull from Nomura's career as of right now are Advent Children, which we don't really care for. I mean, I know a lot of you listeners love Advent Children, but it's not a very good movie, and it's not necessary for the most part. It doesn't really add anything to the story. I mean, it brings the reunion thing in, but...
And I think it has a different feel to it than Final Fantasy VII. It could be the design.
I don't know.
I felt like the characters were a little different.
Maybe it's because of the bad translation of 7 itself. I mean, who knows? But it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't jive. It's got a, I don't know, it's a rough transition. And then, of course, we have the Kingdom Hearts series, which, fantastic from what I've heard. And there's tons of fans of Kingdom
they're great
Hearts
games
himself, and he's working on 3. Although he was working on 15. And one thing I'm worried about is I think they're going for...
Versus 13.
Versus 13, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think they're going for a 20-year kind of remake thing. And Hopefully they've already done quite a bit of it because.
So at the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII, do you think this is two more years?
Yeah, I think that's when they're going to release it. I think it's going to be a 20th anniversary thing.
2017? Mm-hmm. You're probably right.
I think so. And I don't know, man. I just hope I hope it's not too Advent Children-y. I hope it sticks more to 7.
That's the important thing.
It is. It's not Advent Children. It's Final Fantasy 7.
Right. I completely agree. So, degree?
Degree, yes.
I completely agree. So, apparently, the development for this game, they had already started development before the now famous Square Enix PS4 release trailer. You remember that incident? Mm-hmm. We talked about it before, where he was like, "You've been waiting for this for a while," and then they showed just the Final Fantasy VII, the regular Final Fantasy VII onto PS4.
Right.
They had actually, according to Nomura, I'm not sure if it's a freaking lie or not, they had already started the remake before that trailer was released.
I bet you they had, and they probably wanted to see what the reaction was for it not being in HD. And then they're like, okay, let's make this. Because many people were pissed off at it.
Yeah, many people were pissed off. I think it's just because of how they introed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made you think like they were going to remake it. I still don't really care about that incident too much. A lot of people do.
Yeah, I don't think it was that big of a deal. And we talked about that before. Like, I don't know. But, so yeah, we're totally neutral to this. I mean, I don't want to judge on it too much now because, I mean, it could be a great game. Who knows? But I just feel...
could be a great game, but they said it's not going to be a simple remake. They're going to make huge changes in gameplay, and they're going to add other story elements. And the quote was to suit the times. So, for popularity's sake, they're going to change Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
From what we want.
And I think suit the times means Advent Children.
You think so?
I do.
So apparently, why did you scroll down? Why did you do that?
I was looking at the name of the article, you ass.
All right.
So they can actually read it themselves.
It's in the news section of the forums. Anyway, so Nomura explained the talks about making this remake internally, it's been mentioned on and off. Sometimes we think we can do it, and then sometimes we think we maybe can't. Considering some of the original staff, like Kitase, he's acting as producer, and Nojima, he's doing the script. We're all getting older. If we keep going like this, the thought occurred to us that we might have to pass this to a younger generation without the original developers taking part. It doesn't seem like such a grand intention, but we wanted to do it with the original members. So he has that. Kind of makes me feel better. That quote makes me feel better about Nomura being in charge because he's respecting the original a little bit by having all the old staff. Some of the old staff members return. I wonder if Nobuo Uematsu will return to do the music.
I don't know. He could. They could pay him.
They could. Yeah. I hope he does.
Yeah,
I hope he does return for that.
I've missed his work. But I don't know. That does bring a little bit of, I don't know, safety and security to the whole remake thing.
A little bit, but it's gone from we really want Square Enix to do a remake to Square Enix better not fuck this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like the attitude has gone in that direction.
I don't know if they will. I mean, this is such a big deal for them. I can't really see it being really messed up.
Look, if they kept it with the original in almost every way except for like improving the graphics, the game would work.
Yeah, and then actually getting it.
The gameplay is really good in 7. I don't know why you would need to update the gameplay either.
I don't know. I think they need someone else to translate the game. Someone that actually knows English.
Yeah?
Yeah. The Bia Kaz and they guy is sick and shit like that. It's ridiculous. Like, they actually paid somebody to translate that.
Little mistakes.
No, there's a bunch of mistakes in the game. We didn't realize Kate Sith had a Scottish accent. That was supposed to be a joke. There was like a scene where they're making Scarlet and some of the other Shinra members make fun of the guy who voices Kate Sith because he forgets to go out of character when he comes out of his office. And we lost that. That was a completely lost scene to us. It was just like this weird thing. It was like, what the fuck was that?
So you think some of that stuff will be added into this version?
I think that they have the funding to actually translate the thing with someone that can translate it correctly, yes. And
So insulting to the original translator.
dude, there's so many things wrong with it. Looking at the Biakaz project, I noticed there was a lot of problems with the translation. And like the whole thing with the Sephiroth, him being in the crystal, you didn't really feel that. Like you didn't understand what was happening, like how he was around. And it was supposed to be, you know, the little clones, the little experiments were supposed to be Sephiroth, so to speak, that you saw until he fell out of the crystal.
You think it'll clear up some story elements?
I think it will. Or it'll at least make it easier to stomach. Like when you finally find out about what exactly everything means, I think it'll help.
All right.
I think lately their translation and things like that, it doesn't feel nearly as awkward. There's some things that are, you know, socially different, or there's aspects that might be maybe more Japanese in humor or in feel than we can really relate to. But I feel like the hard translation, has been a lot better in more recent years.
You think it's odd that they kicked Nomura off of 15 and then they just shoved him onto this game? And so instead of being in charge of Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15, two giant projects, he's now in charge of the huge Final Fantasy 7 remakes in Kingdom Hearts 3. Why do they keep stretching him so thin on this stuff? Like, is he really the only trusted member to do this?
I don't know. I mean, Kingdom Hearts is kind of his baby, so I don't see him giving anyone else in charge of it. And I mean, if everyone else has moved up within Square, there's not really anyone else to do it. Unless they got
Hajime Tabata, who
who
wasn't part of the original staff. I know that was like one of the issues here.
True, but Nomura was the art director for the main characters. That's
Right, and now he's in charge of the game.
That's hardly main staff.
It's kind of ridiculous, actually.
The guy drew the main guys, and that's it. Yeah, they would have never put what's his name in charge of a game back then.
Yeah, maybe they should hire Hironobu.
Dude,
Would that be so terrible?
I think it'd be amazing.
I think Hironobu should take back his old position as producer, and then Kitase can direct a game.
Yeah.
Kitase hasn't directed a game since Final Fantasy X.
He had the golden age.
Let's look at Kitase's just background here. And if you want to look at our episode called Spotlight Kitase.
Yoshinori Kitase.
Yoshinori Kitase. I forgot his name for a second. Look at that, please. It's Final Fantasy VI, which he co-directed with Ito. Mm-hmm. Final Fantasy VII, which he was the director of and co-scenario writer of. Final Fantasy VIII, which he directed, did not write.
That's good.
Yeah. And then Final Fantasy X. So 3 great games in the series, at least. And some people think 8's a great game. 6, 7, and 10, it was his development team. He was in charge.
Yeah, and they're fantastic. That's like the golden age of Final Fantasy.
It is the golden age of Final Fantasy.
It's where they were fantastic. They were amazing in almost every way.
I feel like Kitase needs to go. I think he needs to be creatively in charge of his staff.
Yeah, well, he's probably getting paid more to do what he's doing now. So
that's probably true.
So I don't think
it's probably true, and he's probably going to be like the CEO of Square Enix in a couple of years too.
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be awesome.
Because remember, during that time, because Hironobu Sakaguchi was in charge of all the games at the beginning, and then during that golden age, he moved up, and he was the producer, and then Kitase and Ito were kind of the dudes who were always in charge of the game's development.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting turn of events that now Nomura's kind of that guy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Ito is kind of the battle.
So where is Ito?
He's not working on anything as far as I know, unless he's doing.
And where is Kitase?
Perhaps he's working on Final Fantasy 16 already.
I hope so.
Yeah?
I hope so. I hope Ito is in charge of 16.
Yeah, the battle system will probably be an amazing version of 12's.
Or just super complicated and it'll break.
Yeah, or it'll be an amazing, super complicated version of 12's that can be fun if you spend 10 years on tutorials.
Yeah, I personally think Nomura is the wrong guy for this job. But, can't change anything now.
No, it's too late.
So there was an old article or an old interview with Nomura saying that if Final Fantasy VII were to be remade, it would be his last hurrah. It would be his final game before retirement. And so there's some like people thinking that might be the case. Like he would retire right after that. I don't think it's true though.
No, I don't think he's going to do that.
No.
Especially if it's a huge success.
So
Which financially, there's no doubt that it will be. But
yeah.
commercially, or not commercially, but critically, who knows?
Who knows?
I've got good hopes, but
How do you feel about them changing gameplay
I don't know. I don't know how they would. I mean, would they make it
to
more
suit
of
the times? Would they make it an action game like 15?
Oh God, I hope not. I hope they, if anything, they make it more like either 12 or 13, where you kind of see the enemies and then you go into the battle screen. Preferably more along the lines of 13, even though I like 12's more. It doesn't feel like 7. 13's battle system would feel like 7. To where you could kind of strategize, like that part in the Shinra headquarters where you got to run across the freaking room and dodge the people when they're looking. It was
The
annoying.
sneaking level?
Yeah, but there's probably gonna. It'd be cool if they added some sort of sneak element to it, to where something similar to 13.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
That's probably as advanced as I'd want it to be. 15, 7 style. I don't know about that, or 7-15 style. It would be so different.
Can you pull up that part of the forum where someone left a comment about Final Fantasy VII's remake? You know what comment I'm talking about?
The one where I got really mad at.
Yeah. Where did you get really mad at him?
Fairly mad. I don't
Okay.
know, really.
Well, I do want to just talk about what he said here. Was that in that area?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just give us 1 second here. They're all talking about the FF7 remake. A lot of people on the forum, like the forum's abuzz with this.
Oh yeah.
So we got a guest account that logged in.
It's titled no is the guest account, and they said LMAO at half you people in this thread jumping on the hype train of FF7. I recall many of you saying, including Joe and Calab, that FF7 remake wouldn't happen. You didn't want it to happen.
Okay, I
and it shouldn't
didn't think it would happen. That's true.
I was pretty sure it was going to happen
I
eventually.
think there's a podcast episode where I said maybe way in the future it would happen.
I don't know.
Definitely not as recent as now.
No, I figured it was going to happen eventually, but
You're right. He's right about that. I did say that.
All right.
It wouldn't happen.
you were the people opposing those of us who signed petitions, joined remake groups, and asked continuously for this to happen. But whatever, I'm sure you're going to pretend you've been hyped from the start and tell everyone you've wanted this for 1,000,000 years.
Okay, Caleb. What was my reaction on the forum to this? Could you possibly go to the Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff?
It's right here. You said, F my life, it's being directed by Nomura. And then down below, you said, we need Kitase. And then I said, it does look pretty good. Also, welcome to our forums. And the video
Super
is,
hype train. I feel like we got right on that hype train, didn't we?
yeah.
Okay.
And then let's keep going. Let's bury this person in shame. So then you said, and then somebody said something like, "Oh, he's not that bad. I mean, everyone's giving him crap." And you said, "When's the last time he finished something?"
Nomura finished
He
something.
continues to retcon a game he wasn't in charge of, and Kitase is being seriously underutilized. That's you again. Mm-hmm. It's mostly what it is. However, with Nomura in charge of the development team, the game is going to have a very different feel from the original. Kitase directed 7 originally, and I think he should be in charge of the remake, not the Advent Children guy. And then I said, I agree, but I'll withhold my judgment for now. I just hope we don't get a few videos over a 9-year span. LOL. I highly doubt it will take anywhere near that long.
I don't know, man. Versus 13 seems to be a forever project.
Yeah. And then I was a total dick, and I said
To his comment.
to his comment, yeah, I said hype train. I don't know if bitching about Nomura is getting on the hype train. And then I said some fascist thing about having a 3rd grade reading comprehension test before posting.
So
Which-
rude.
Yeah, but you
You could have been typing on the phone.
You can still read the
never know.
previous comments on the phone.
Okay, and then Caleb Craig,
He said, for the record, he still doesn't want it, and he accepts that it's happening, and he says, also, I can tell you that Joe's exact reaction was,
That's true. That's the text I sent him after I got it.
He never expected him to actually do this, and he can assure you it's because of money, not because you signed a piece of paper. Which is very true. They don't give a shit about your petitions. Why would you spend that much time petitioning for a remake of a game? That seems madness. I want this so bad. I petition for like
I've done one petition. I signed that petition to the documentary Bully was rated R for like 4 F-bombs, but it was a documentary and it was about kids and they're the ones saying the F-bombs, and it's like it was a petition to make it PG-13. And they did it.
I've signed a couple of petitions.
So
I don't remember what they were, but you know. So
So yeah, not on the hype train at all. I don't think anyone should get on the hype train for this until we see more. Until we see like the gameplay footage.
Yeah, I mean, you could be excited for it. That's all you want. It doesn't matter.
You can be. If the most important thing in your life is a Final Fantasy VII Remake, you must not like Final Fantasy VII that much.
Yeah. That's true. If you don't like it in its current form, I mean,
why do you give a shit?
Yeah. That's a good point, yeah.
So I like the original Final Fantasy VII. I don't think it needs to be changed. And if they're going to change something, they're going to change it like... I would want them to change it like the original Final Fantasy IV versus Final Fantasy IV Complete.
Yeah,
where it's just like smoother, better graphics, but no real big change.
I wouldn't
mind. And a better translation.
Yeah, better translation. I don't think voice acting would destroy it.
Or a different translation. I'm not going to say better because who knows?
Well, a different, more complete version of 7. I would be cool.
Okay, what were you saying about voice acting?
I think voice acting wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world for this game. I mean, we've had voice acting for other 7 things, and they didn't bug me too much.
Kate Sith.
But he was supposed to be Scottish the whole time.
Or seeing Red 13 talk in Advent Children.
Red 13, yeah, is ridiculous.
I don't want it to be one of those situations where you're embarrassed about playing a game in front of other people. Like the laughing scene in Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, I embrace that fully, though.
So...
I blast that thing.
So, my concern with voice acting is just that.
Yeah, that it won't translate well.
Yeah, it won't translate well. However, they did with Final Fantasy 13. I know that they actually changed the character model's lips to match the English.
Okay. Voice
acting, and then I hope they do the same thing for the 7 remake, and I hope they do the same thing for 15.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one thing that I know that with 12 that I think they did really well is the voice acting.
The voice acting in 12 is really good.
I don't ever find a time where I'm like, ugh. Like maybe the Sky Pirate dudes that are all like piratey and like, yeah, but there. Those guys are like over the top, but it's not like crazy jarring. Like I just ran into a wall at going 50 and just, freaking whiplash of the voice. So it can be done, and I'm not too concerned about that part. Mostly, the gameplay I hope stays semi-intact. Like it's got to be pretty similar to what it was before, because that's standard Final Fantasy. I mean, almost every one of them feels like that to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
Except for, do you even have items in 13?
Yeah, you got items.
Okay, I couldn't remember for some reason. I was just thinking like spells and stuff. But so every one of them feels similar, so they can't go that far out of the way. Except 15. 15 so far is very different feeling, and I really hope they don't.
I think 11 and 12 are way different.
You still have the items though, like the standard HUD that you've always had. That I think is important. I think making it an action game where you press triangle to throw a potion on it's not going to feel right. But who knows? It could still be a great game even with that.
I like the 15 demo. I have way more hype for 15 than I do for the FF7 remake.
Oh, me too. Yeah, it's a main line that we haven't already played.
Yeah, so I think we're going to get to the question segment here. So we just gotta wait for Caleb to pull it up. I know that most of you guys are really excited for the FF7 remake, and I'm really sorry that I am just not.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, it's similar to the...
I hope for an HD remaster. That's what I hope for. I don't give a shit about a remake.
It looks good as far as graphics are concerned, but
yeah,
it's not what it's about. So
yeah. Now I have changed my mind over the years. I used to want a FF7 remake a lot.
Yeah, did you?
I did, because at the time FF7 was not available very easily. Like buying a copy of FF7 was like $70.
Oh, I remember those days.
Yeah.
I remember them well, but it's not that way anymore. So
no, it's now on Steam for $10. So
yep. You guys take it as you will. We'll end up playing it. So
will we though?
I think
We
should.
already played FF7.
I know, but we already played FF7. I know, but
We already played FF7.
I know, but we should play the remake.
I'm sorry, should we play the remakes of all the other games too?
Like what? Like what remakes?
I don't know, should we play every single version of FF1 that was ever released?
No, that doesn't count. It's not a remake.
There's remakes of the first 4 games.
Not really.
Complete remakes.
No, not complete remakes. They went peg leg mode. That
They
isn't
did
a
go
complete-
peg leg mode.
That isn't a complete
and they added
remake.
voice acting for Final Fantasy IV. Should we play that one
That's
separately?
not a remake.
That is
the
a
same,
remake.
It's the same story, the same dialogue, the same gameplay, different character models.
It's not the same dialogue.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a different translation. It now
that's-
has voice acting.
I don't know. That's different though.
They added some stuff with Golbez that wasn't in the original version.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
it is about
it's
the
all a
same.
remake.
I guess we'll have to decide when the
So
game comes
no,
out.
we're not going to play this version for the podcast because we already played FF7. That'd be ridiculous because then we're going to have a comment. Well, you played the remake of FF7. Why don't you play the remake of FF4?
Well, the thing is we can play what we want. We don't have to play what they say. It doesn't have to be 100% consistent. I mean, what's going to happen when... I don't know. I feel like not playing it would be betrayal.
Yeah, they remade 1, 2, 3, and 4 already, and then 7. And there's an interview somewhere out there where
Nomura wants to remake more.
Nomura
Yeah.
wants to remake 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Which I still don't think is necessary. I think like an HD revamp like Final Fantasy IV
Complete would be fantastic.
That's
yeah.
great. But like a super remake, like the 3D remakes of 3 and 4,
They don't look very good to me.
unnecessary
Yeah, but
because they're not unapproachable games. FF7 I understand if it's unapproachable because of the pegness of it. Being their first 3D game, being Square's first 3D game, it certainly has room for improvement. But I would just say improve it, not completely revamp it.
oh yeah, we
Still.
talked about this. So.
Gosh.
All right, well, let's get to the questions.
Okay,
Finally.
let's do it.
All right, so first up in the question segment, this is from Really 511.
Is it really 511?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's probably more like 4 o'clock, 4:30 or so, but probably close.
We're starting late today.
It's true. We do this. We got to start getting back on schedule. But anyway, what did you guys think? Or wait, no. FF7 Remake is what it's titled. And what do you guys think they will add and take away from FF7?
I think they will add. I think they will take away the original gameplay that we're used to and add some kind of convoluted, complicated system that is unnecessary. And they're going to add some story elements, I'm sure, that are going to tie it better into the Crisis Core game and into Advent Children.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to add more dungeons and stuff like that, too. Some more optional stuff, which that doesn't bother me at all.
That'd be cool. Yeah, more weapons would be cool.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, maybe some sort of like more super bosses maybe, or some way to... No, they have enough super bosses. Screw that. But just extra areas to get more weapons, like you said, or maybe some new materia wouldn't be a bad thing.
They're going to take away the W item glitch.
Oh, are they really?
It's a glitch. It was never part of the game.
It's amazing.
I know.
Let's think of how much gil that saved us. Oh, dude, if they remake 6, they're going to take away the Vanished Doom.
Oh, no.
Those bastards. We'll sign a petition to not take away the Vanished Doom. We need
Vanished
it.
Doom must be part of this game.
It was the original.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure they're going to... I think they're not going to touch the soundtrack, I'm certain. They're going to probably vamp it up. And
No, they're probably going to redo the
remaster.
soundtrack either electronically or with its symphonic sound.
Or maybe a full...
I would like a full orchestra for Nomura, or not Nomura,
Uematsu?
Uematsu to be in charge of. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That would be the best.
Yeah, the soundtrack would be awesome if they kept
Yeah.
Uematsu in it. And even if they didn't, they still have the music. It's theirs. But as far as what else they'll take away, I mean, it'll take away the feel of 1997. It'll feel like 2015 or 2008. Like 15 feels
Which
like.
is what Nomura wants.
Yeah.
Hey,
is.
let's be current to be cool.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, you don't need to be current. I mean, and it has a 97 feel, and it's a 97 game.
Yeah.
But I'm
I
sure
agree.
that'll be taken away to some extent, obviously.
It looks like the character designs are closer to the original game than Advent Children.
Yeah.
I mean, from the few shots we got in the trailer of their backs,
Yeah. The sword looks the same.
his hair looks a lot closer to the original FF7 than
Which
it
I
does
like,
the
yeah.
Advent Children. So
There was someone on the
Cloud's
forums
hair.
complaining about Cloud's hair in Advent Children, and I feel him. It's weird.
Okay.
It's not as, like, ridiculous as Seven's, but
And how did we react to the trailers, I believe, is Shinru's question.
it's true.
He has a whole bunch of videos where people reacted to it in different ways, staged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything while I was watching it. I was like, after about 2 seconds, when the bird flew over the messed up city, I was like, oh, is this a 7 remake? And then it was. And I was like, what the...
So you were watching the live feed? Or
Yeah,
what?
I watched it for like the 2 minutes that Square was on. I just
Wow.
jumped on. Yeah, and
Nice.
and
Right on time.
I saw the Final Fantasy whatever, the weird little peg leg dudes, the little chibis.
World of Final Fantasy.
World of Final Fantasy. Yeah, I watched that, and then I saw the 7 remake thing, and then I just got offline. It was like crazy timing.
Yeah, we already talked about this. Caleb called me, and I was like, huh.
I didn't think they'd pull it out of the bag yet. I mean,
Yeah, I wanted Final Fantasy 15 release date. That's what I wanted.
I wanted 12 HD.
Oh, yeah.
I was pretty disappointed that they didn't do that.
I wanted 12 HD before I want a remake of Final Fantasy 7.
That says something. There's a lot of people that have posted on Twitter and stuff like that talking about the 12 remake. They're like, that's what I wanted, not a 7 remake. A 12 HD. I want the Zodiac Job system, but we didn't get it. So our reaction was
Lukewarm.
lukewarm. Yeah, it was exciting seeing it though. Like there was a lot of with the soundtrack playing, it was intense, and I was like, nice. But then I was like, God, I hope they don't mess this up. In
We
my
really
eyes.
need a member of our podcast to be super excited for this so that
Yeah.
we can butt heads, because this is us agreeing makes for nothing on the
Well,
radio.
All right, so it is exciting seeing it at first glance. I mean, seeing how fantastic the graphics are going to be, seeing how there's going to be voicing, there's going to be all this stuff. We're going to see the world as it would be today with our modern technology. That part is cool. I have no problem with that at all. With the graphics being as amazing as they could possibly be on the PS4. Now the gameplay, yeah, that's where I start to fall on the god damn it side
It's like
of things.
Final Fantasy 7 had a great battle system.
Yeah, it was really good.
And they're talking about making changes to it. I'm like,
I just hope they don't make it an action RPG, which would be modern. It would be more modern. I don't know. It's weird because they can't do it. They can't do it like Skyrim or like all these other Western RPGs. We can do it, but they can't. Like with the 15 demo, it doesn't feel like Skyrim. It's not as fluid. It's not as perfect. There's a menu system. I mean, there's a menu system in Skyrim too, but it just doesn't. It doesn't work like that for whatever reason, and it shows. And I think if they did that with 7, it wouldn't feel like it could. Like when I'm playing Oblivion or Skyrim or Fallout. That doesn't feel like a JRPG at all, does it? It's perfect. Like the way it's laid out, the way you use your items and all that, it's like it just feels right. But I don't know. I'm worried that it's gonna be like 15. And 15 is gonna be I just hope it doesn't mess with 15. Hopefully 15 comes out before.
this better not be like a Gus Van Sant Psycho remake where he uses all the same shots, only it's in color and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to the original black and white Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock. It's
I
like,
still haven't seen that. I mean,
you
I know-
haven't seen Psycho?
No. I know the famous scenes.
Okay,
but
it's really good.
I know I've heard. And the Hitchcock movies I have seen are fantastic, so.
But I wouldn't show you the Gus Van Sant version of Psycho.
There was a forum post about the Godzilla. You remember that one? Where they were saying the King of the Monsters was their favorite?
He was saying it for sentimental reasons. King of the Monsters was his favorite, not that it was the better film.
Oh, okay. That's good. Because King of the Monsters. Even the first one, I thought it was awesome, but I was like, it's not like a 5-star movie. It's It's good, but
The original Godzilla?
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
it's kind of cheesy.
You should always look at a movie through the time that the movie was made
Well,
in.
I was like negative.
That way you're never like, oh, the special effects suck.
I wasn't worried about the special
Oh, I
effects.
hate black and white and full screen. Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was just.
I hate people like that. I hate them so much. I hate them so much. Like Cody watching Clockwork Orange, and he's like, I hate 70s movies. I'm like, why? And it's just because of how they look.
I think they look fantastic.
I love the look of 70s movies. I love black and white too. And I'm like, you don't have to love it, but you gotta you just gotta look at it differently. And looking at a PlayStation 1 game, you should be looking at it as a PlayStation 1 game.
Exactly.
No one should say, I can't play that game because the graphics suck. You can say that for a game that's released now. And like, wow, that game really doesn't look good. And like when you run into a wall, like it gets all glitchy. Like I can understand that being a problem for a game released now.
Yeah. Yeah, like if the 7 remake looked like hell.
Yeah.
Like that'd be a problem.
Like if they still had the peg and the like, or
It'd be
the-
exactly
the-
what you wanted.
the Popeye arms or whatever, like yeah, you'd be like, what?
I think if they reskin it, I think they should try to get rid of that too. I'd be okay with them getting rid of the Popeye limbs.
It's so stupid. I hate that attitude towards things.
Well, the same thing with games, like you were saying. Like I know shooters age the worst, but you can still play an old shooter. It's just hard to see where the guys are, the bad guys, because they're pixels. It doesn't make it bad.
No, you can play Doom 1 just fine.
Yeah, or like Grand Theft Auto 2 and 3. Like it's just
Those
playable.
aren't shooters, but whatever.
Well, they're sandbox shooters. But anyway, yeah. So, 70s film's great.
I'd say old 50s, black and white. The only time that's really bad for movies is like late 20s to mid 30s is
like
when
nothing,
they
yeah.
first brought in sound, and so the camera couldn't move. Like in the silent era of film, especially late silent era, they were doing fantastic visual things. And then as soon as sound came in, they couldn't move the microphone, and so they couldn't move the camera or anything. They just all creative energy went out until the technology caught up.
I see.
So
That's probably why there's very little of those on the list of 1001 movies.
yeah,
It's like
when you're looking
20s
at
to
best
like 30 something.
best movies of all time or whatever, like that range is really bad. Late 30s is when Citizen Kane came out and Gone with the Wind and stuff, but early to mid 30s bad.
Yeah, so
And late 20s, so like 1925 to 1935 is just
yeah, so we'll see what they do. I mean,
yeah. All this is about FF7.
Of course, yeah. We got another question here from Lazarus. Ooh, Satan himself. He says, "What would your team be?" They say there are no stupid questions, just stupid people. So here is a question from this stupid person. Okay, let's say we mix the world of Pokemon and Final Fantasy. Your monster. I would love 6 monsters.
You want 6 monsters?
I do, yes.
Okay.
All right, so your 6 monster team can consist of any regular monster from Final Fantasy. Let's leave out bosses to be fair. What is your team, and why did you pick them? By the way, let's assume FF elemental synergies water beats lightning and vice versa, ice beats fire, and so on.
Okay, what?
Team of 6 monsters like Pokemon, where you throw out your fucking monster.
Only
So-
Final Fantasy characters or Final Fantasy monsters?
monsters. So it's like a play on that old one we did where we would have our Uber team, but now it's an Uber team of monsters to kill our Uber team of players.
Oh, wow.
All right, so I'll go first on this.
Okay.
Marlboro FF10.
Yes.
He's brutally fast, and he screws everyone over, whereas like when I'm going through 12, the Marlboro will hit like one guy, 2 guys maybe, really screw them up, but not the whole team after 40 minutes
Marlboro
of grinding.
FF10 is pretty sick.
So that's one.
Did we ever fight FF11's Marlboro? Did we just go past it and say screw
We
you?
fought one, and I fought a few, and I destroyed him.
Oh, okay.
They weren't
You
bad.
must have been way higher level than them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, even when I was around the same level, they weren't quite as statusy as they are normally. So Marlboro FF10, I'm gonna go. The eye creatures from 10 as well. Because no, I'm gonna go
Really?
the behemoths from 10.
Behemoth from 10?
Yes, because they cast Meteor when they die.
They do that in the other ones, too. I think Behemoth from 5 is pretty sick.
Oh, you're right. The final area in 5 was a godless creature of hell and pain. I think I'm going to go with that, yeah. Behemoth from 5. I remember them. They were everywhere in that final area, and they were sick. And it was impossible to level up unless I went all the way back, because I couldn't kill the fucking behemoths quick enough. So those two, oh man. The Cactar from 13.
So you got status effects, and then you got brute strength.
Yes. And now I've got cannon, or
Cactar.
glass cannon.
Cactar is also just brute strength. Yeah, you should probably have some elemental stuff if you're going to be fighting some Pokemon. There's 4 elements.
Yeah.
So you got 4 more, so you might as well.
I'm still putting Cactar from 13 in there.
Okay.
Because I chased the guy, he was like playing and running from me, and I finally cornered the little bastard, and I'm like, yeah, you're dead. And then I get into the fight with him, and he just levels me. Just 10,000 needles just ripping through my team. You know, there's like a scene where Saz is like pulling his dismembered legs back to the rest of his body before he just kind of passes out and dies. It was insane, and I chased the guy too, and he was running from me. He's like, "Oh, can't catch me!" And then it's like, "Yeah." So that guy, and then, oh man, beefy elementals.
Yeah, the beef type monsters.
Yeah, the corned beef can from Final Fantasy II. We could totally pull that too, because no one has played FF2. Corned beef in can.
Yeah.
I don't know, the elementals from the big elementals. They're not bosses, but the big ones in 12. You know, like the giant circle dudes. Mm-hmm. I'd go with 1 fire, 1 ice, and 1 water, because I feel like I run into more lightning creatures than I do water. Oh no, I have 1 more, and then the lightning or the water.
No, you don't have 1 more, but okay. You got 7.
I'll have an extra Pokeball.
Yeah, you'll have an extra Pokeball on you. This is an extremely difficult question.
There's a lot of messed up monsters.
I would just say 4 elementals, and
Yeah.
then Ultima weapon. And
Well, that's a boss though.
oh, we can't do bosses.
That was a
okay.
disclaimer.
All right, so the 4 elementals. Damn it, I don't want to pick the same ones as you, but they're good.
There's always like Toneberry. You know, he's a monster.
Toneberry is a monster. You're right. Ooh, I'd probably take the. Oh no, those count as Behemoth's a good one. Fuck you, man, for taking this question first. I'll say just 4 different elementals, because that would be really useful.
Okay.
I think as a team, so I'm not going to pick and choose. Actually, you know what? Instead of elementals, I'll do bombs. I like that. Let's do bombs there. I'll have 1 brute strength guy, so it'll be a Bahamut, and then another one be a jumbo flan.
You mean a behemoth?
What did I say?
Bahamut.
I mean behemoth.
And a jumbo flan
And a jumbo flan.
for the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would.
I'll do a jumbo fire flan, because I feel like fire does pretty well against all of them except for
Except for
ice.
All right. Fair enough. That's a decent question.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a cool game.
Pokemon Final Fantasy style.
Yeah, Poke Fantasy.
I don't know. They might do something like that in a future game where you capture monsters. Well, you can do that in 11 actually.
It's true. Yeah, with
Capture
the
monsters and
Beastmaster.
let them fight for you.
And of course, you capture monsters in 10, but we don't like to talk about that quest.
No.
All right, so we have one more question today. This one is from Batman. It's titled Naming Characters. When you have the option to name a character, do you leave it as the default name, or do you give them a name of your choosing? I personally always name the main character Batman, but leave all other characters with their default names. If you do name characters, what names do you use?
I always keep them as default if they have a default. In the Final Fantasy 1 and Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 1 I used real names and then my close friends, so I put like Joseph as a warrior, and then like Caleb, Dylan, and I had someone else I can't remember. I remember one time it was my ex-girlfriend's name was one of them. And then, so, you know, people I knew, I always did that for FF1.
Yeah.
So, I did that. And then Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14, of course, I have my online name, which is Newborius. I did that for Final Fantasy 11, and then Final Fantasy 14, you have to have a last name too, so I did Newborius Caesar, which I just thought was funny, and I put that there.
I'm generally the same way. I mean, if I've played the game before, I'll sometimes play around with it to create like funny situations where
I did a whore on Renoa because Spoonie did that, and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this time through, I've kept main names. And then same thing with the Final Fantasy 1. I named it after, had like you, Caleb, me, and I think I had like Christian or somebody like that. I can't remember. I just threw a bunch of names in.
There's always that fourth one. Who the fuck?
Yeah. There's that non-important person in my life. But just kidding. There's and with 11 I did Husk or El Husk, which is a similar gamer tag to what I usually use, and then 14 I don't have an account yet, so
Okay.
I'll probably do something awesome.
All right. Good questions this week, I'd say. Just so you know, you guys can leave us a question on our Skype line at 385-204-3921. And just so you know, we actually had one call in, but it cut off. You only have 1 minute to leave your voicemail. Is it 1 minute or is it 30 seconds?
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, it's 1 minute. It's definitely 1 minute.
Well, no, because this one cuts off before the 52 seconds.
Okay. You guys have 52 seconds.
Yeah, sorry, Hawaiian shirt. Your the last half of your thing, or last however much, because we'll never know, got cut off. I mean, it was just you introducing yourself, and you started to ask a question, and then it just went like... So
it just ended. It could have been on his side, but I think it was from our side. So keep your questions really short for the Skype thing, and don't dilly-dally. Get right into your question.
Yeah, it's pretty... I don't know why it's so short. But
I think we got... Let's just go ahead and answer this question on our Skype line.
All right.
Because the question is kind of... Yeah.
Hey, guys. Hawaiian shirt here to let you know. Great podcast, and keep up the work. And obviously, with the huge reveal at E3, Square is finally developing a Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, oh yeah. The big controversy I keep hearing right now is over the battle system. A lot of people have been saying they want them to just keep the original thing, don't change anything, but I'm kind of hoping they...
And
okay,
that's where
and then it cuts off. Okay, guys, you have 30 seconds.
I'm going to surmise
for a
that he was
question.
going to say, I'm kind of hoping that they change it up, and what do we think about it? We've already kind of mentioned that. I mean, it can still be really fun if they do change it up, but I just hope they don't go crazy with it and make it an action RPG. I just think if anything, they make it like 12 or 13s where it's more of an open world. You run into the guys, or they're actually in the open world.
I can understand doing the open world thing, too. I think it should be like 13s where you go up to them and then start the battle. And then having that battle system be a lot closer to the original Final Fantasy VII.
I would be totally fine with that.
Yeah.
That would feel more natural than 12s, even though I like 12s more. It doesn't feel like 7 at all.
Okay. So no iTunes reviews this week. But we will thank you in advance for those who decide to give us iTunes reviews. Please do. Please get on iTunes and leave us a review, even if you hate Apple.
Yeah.
Just sign in and put your stuff there. Okay.
Either that, or I mean, there's other places to review us as well. And then, of course, as always, make sure to follow us on or subscribe to us on YouTube. It's oh no, you're right. We have one more segment.
We do have another segment Caleb
Good
forgot
Lord.
about. Look, it's written right there.
Your handwriting sucks.
Okay, and actually plugs need to go. No. We could do plugs.
Yeah, see
Because
how
it's
it's
plugs
written
and then
right
questions.
there?
I'm so sorry.
So make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Follow us on Twitter at UFF Podcast. Like our page on Facebook, facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. And of course, our very favorite, subscribe to us, or not subscribe your funds to us on Patreon.
You at least if you give us $1, you get the episodes
a day and a half-ish early. It depends on when we record.
You get the episodes when we record them.
Yeah, right after we do the mix. It's really cool. We've got some cool rewards in there if you want some awesome Ultima merch and whatnot.
Yeah.
We got some cool stuff. And then, of course,
You gotta follow us on Twitch.
yeah, follow us on
where
Twitch.
we're now doing the episodes live.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody's watching, but we are. So that's kind of fun. You get it early just for watching us on Twitch. And I'm also doing my playthrough of Final Fantasy 12, broadcasting every moment of that. So there's hundreds of hours of Twitch content you'll have from us. And you can also get our stuff through our
All the Twitch
website.
videos go to the YouTube channel, though.
Yeah, I throw them on YouTube.
So
And you can-
in case you miss it, get on YouTube.
True. And they also are uploaded on Twitch first, and then they get deleted after like 2 weeks or something. I can't remember. But you can all get everything, all of the things that I've mentioned, and more, on the website at ultimafinalfantasy.com. And then, of course, our very favorite, second probably to the Patreon, the forums. It's ultimafinalfantasy.boards.net.
Or you can just click through the regular site.
Yeah, the site has it all. And it's a growing community, as we've always said, like a billion times. And it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
There's a lot of questions, a lot of good networking.
And you can get on the hype train with us.
Yeah, jump on the hype train and we'll all ride it down the track and get suplexed by ourselves. So now, without further ado, the questions from us to you.
So our question last week was, out of the two
Traditionally less liked.
traditionally, is it really a tradition if they're not that old? Traditionally hated Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 12 and Final Fantasy 13, games that neither of us hate, by the way, but many people do. Out of the two traditionally hated Final Fantasy games, which of the two were the best? I believe you're looking in the wrong folder. I don't think we ever moved it to that folder.
Where is it then?
I have no idea. Just look in the recent posts and try to find it. The question of whether or not Final Fantasy 12 was better than 13 or 13 was better than 12. Like, which of those two hated games do you guys like the most?
Okay.
So,
Are you ready for the results?
I believe we got some responses here.
We did. Let's hit those first.
Okay.
All right. I did the initial post, and then Chocobo Chica says, just 13 or the 13 trilogy? And I said, just 13.
Of course, just 13. Just 13 is part
Yeah.
of the main series.
And
13
then-
trilogy is part of a trilogy.
Yes, of course. And Gammon Stark, of course, had his funny little line where he says, so this is like voting for president. Who do I dislike less?
Nice.
Ox Bellows, I can't stress how hard I clicked the 12 box.
So he liked 12 a lot more.
Okay. And Gammon Stark also says, looks like we only have two choices, same thing. I came up with a clever little party thing, and then it got all political, and then I was like, okay, stop. And
Don't get political on the forums, please.
yeah, we're really just stay neutral, man.
What's the thing they say amongst friends never to talk about politics
and
or
religion.
Yeah. Don't do it at the forums.
Yeah. So after putting more, this is Chocobo Chica. After putting some more hours into 12, I'm coming around to it a bit. I had to vote for 12, not because it's a favorite, but because it's still better than 13.
Okay.
And let's see. Anyways, I refrained from voting. This is schnitzel time because I look at both of these games with equal disdain. Can you create a third invisible
Equal
option?
disdain?
Yeah. Like in FF8 when you get Bahamut. And then I said I wouldn't honor 8 like that. Like a dick. And let's see what else. We got something from Kefka Palaza here. He says, never played 13, so I can't vouch for it. And I did really like 12, as I thought the Gambit system was pretty fun and easy to use. From what I know, 12 apparently gives way more freedom in the game to travel and explore than 13, which from what I hear happens later in the game.
Yeah, you can
does.
explore Pulse a lot more.
Yeah, and since the exploration element in these games is one of my favorite things to do, going to have to go with 12. Of course, this is with no experience in 13, just from what I've heard, so that may change when he plays it. All right, so one of those votes kind of doesn't count. And Critotol says, have to go with 12. It was better for me.
Okay.
All right. Well, we can pretty much surmise how this is going to go.
Okay. Wow.
Did you vote, Joe?
You can view voters. I can't remember if I did, but I might have. You can press next. Okay. I did not vote.
Okay, so
So if I were to vote, you know where my vote goes.
I know what your vote goes.
Okay.
All right, so as of right now, and I mean this is going to be an ongoing thread. I don't think we're going to close it. It'd be kind of rude, but Final Fantasy XII has 7 votes, and Final Fantasy XIII has 2, and 3 counting Joe's.
3 counting Joe's, yes.
So, Team Caleb.
So 13's hate is still alive and well on the internet.
Apparently,
A
yeah.
well-reviewed game when it came out, disappointing to fans.
Yeah, I stopped playing it, so I kind of feel it.
See, I still think, as I'm playing 12 right now, I'm like excited to play 13.
Yeah, I'm excited to play it too, to give it a fair go. I don't like it as much, but the story is probably more engaging.
I think the story is more engaging in 13 than it is in 12.
I'm sure it is, yeah. I'm sure it is. Like 12 is just like, it's like lukewarm. It's like they had this giant, cut the cream off the top, and not in a good way like you normally do in that phrase. Mm-hmm. There's all this awesome milk down below that they're not even going to touch. But, yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, 12 is more loved. And they are a traditionally divided set of games. Like, there's a lot of people that are like F13, and they're like, oh, 12 is a horrendous game. And it's so weird, because everyone normally is, like, pretty chill with most of them.
I think if you're going to go with the traditional idea that after Final Fantasy X, they all suck, it was Final Fantasy XI that really screwed up the series, if that's how you feel.
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy XI is a game that not too many people have played. Mm-hmm. That much of, at least. And I feel like there was definitely a shift.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that 11 was a shift so far away. And 12 was just a tiny bit closer to Final Fantasy. It's Final Fantasy 13 that really brings it back to at least Final Fantasy X's kind of storytelling
style.
Yeah,
no, and I think 12
and
brings
battle system style too. I think it's a lot closer to the old games.
Yeah, I don't know though.
Than Final Fantasy 12 or Final Fantasy 11. I think those two games are just like out there.
I don't know.
Then Final Fantasy 13 brings it back, and it may be a disappointment, but I think it's a lot closer to what Final Fantasy is.
Yeah, it depends. I think 12 is, well, classically 12 and 11 are Final Fantasy 1 and 3.
I think 11 is. I think 12 is not.
12 is like 2 if it were an actual video game.
I think
and
12
not
is like
retarded.
12 is like Tactics and 11 put together. It's not.
I don't know if it's like Tactics. You haven't even played Tactics.
It's in the same world, and it kind of has
the same world, but
color palette and crap like that.
I think 12 looks great. I don't think it's.
I think it looks great too.
And I feel like it's a lot more like maybe a hybrid between 1 and 2, or like 1 with a real battle system or a leveling system where it's not like, hey, go beat the fuck out of your friend until he gets HP and then go heal up, and then the end guy is gonna keep like raping you for money, and he's gonna like become the 1% of this nation by taking all of your gil because you need healing more. Oh my god, it all came back to me.
The worst healthcare system in the world.
Yeah, it's horrendous. It's like, I'm saving your planet here, but oh man. That's great. So, interesting question from you guys, from us to you. I kind of thought it was going to be closer. I mean,
I did too. I was like, "Where's the 13 in love?"
I obviously like 12 more, but
so far, hey, keep an open mind.
I will. No, I am, and there's plenty of things to bitch about.
I'm trying to, but I keep getting stuck in 12, man, and I'm just getting so mad at the game.
Well, we're gonna have to play some after we get done here.
It takes forever to level up in 12. It's like playing 11. It's like,
yeah, without the XP boost.
without the XP.
Although even with those in 11, we were grinding like.
And I'm like, I'm only leveling up 3 guys. I'm like, what if I tried to level up all 6 at the same time? How long would this game take?
It's not that bad. You just got to actually sit down and play the game, Joe. There's this part of. See, it's called playing the game. It's not just the game.
No. It's grinding the game. It's grinding the game. It's taking the CD, the DVD-ROM of the game, and putting it up against my balls and just going back and forth.
Jeez, what do you have, like?
No, like the soon the edge that was nice and soft, turns into a razor, and it just cuts. It just
Cuts deep.
Yeah.
Well,
The grind.
just gotta stop being a bitch, man.
Fuck you. And fuck your Final Fantasy 12.
Oh, there's places that are better to grind, and I don't know. I just got the things down, the quickenings, and I've been able to one-shot, like, Vossler. He didn't even touch me.
See, I'm trying to actually play the game and not quicken my way out of every boss fight.
It's funny that you would say that, but...
Fuck you.
Fuck
you.
I mean, I could turn it on auto and go to bed. Technically, you can do that with 12. If you go into a low level enough area, you can make them attack the nearest enemy, and you could just leave the game on.
Would enemies spawn and then... Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Oh.
Surprised you haven't done it.
Gonna have a nice long game time.
But yeah.
Like, you have 24 extra hours on me. I'm like,
Well, it's probably not going to be that way anyway.
It would be super slow. I don't know how many hours it would take to kill the guys and then wait for a spawn.
Well, the thing is they'd have
Are
to
there certain strategic areas to do that in? Just like...
I'm sure there are areas.
There's got to
faster.
be. Oh, now I'm going to look stuff up.
Yeah. I just give you more fuel to my flame to diss you on these. But good times. All right, so what are we going to do for this week's question?
I don't know. It's definitely your turn.
I don't know. I think if we go back... I'm kidding.
Did you listen to last episode?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't
then
listen
you
to the
know
one...
exactly what the fuck
I didn't
I'm
listen
talking
to the one
about.
before, but we've stolen each other's the last two times. All right. What question from us to you? Okay,
We
here's
should
a
really
good one.
plan these before
I
we
got a
start.
really good one.
All right.
So, I am thinking of doing a contest for Twitch for logging on at a certain time, and I'm going to have some sort of question or some sort of trivia, and you guys are going to answer it on the chat.
Shit. That's right. Yeah,
What do you guys want as a reward for this? It can't be like crazy, crazy expensive or anything like that, but what is a cool game that is not necessarily, common, so to speak, or another RPG or something you're interested in that you guys would like as a prize? And this is a difficult question because there's going to be so many. There's not a two-part answer.
You want to give them a game?
Yes. So
I would suggest sending a Crisis Core out or something.
I could do a Crisis Core, or I could buy someone. I don't know if not that many people have PSPs anymore.
What do people have right now? Why don't you just give
PS
them like
Vitas.
30 days on Final Fantasy 14 or something?
Buy them a gift card for 14.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the options. Final Fantasy VII on Steam.
Oh, shit.
No! I'm not spending $50 on a PS1 copy.
Can you gift on PSN?
I don't know if you can. Okay, Final Fantasy VII on PSN or Steam will be one option, and you'll get to choose if you win.
Okay.
Or a 30-day Final Fantasy 14 gift card. One is a full-length 75-hour game. One is as many fucking hours as you could play in a single month of 14. So that is our question from us to you. Which would you prefer as a gift on a future date that I haven't decided on yet for me Twitch streaming?
This is an interesting question from us to you.
It is. It's got a lot of back-end stuff.
What sounds like a better prize?
Yeah, what sounds like a better prize? A lot of back-end stuff that I can't really say, or else it'll give it away. But, yeah, which one do you guys want more?
Excuse me.
Let us know. We're going to throw up a poll on the site, and this one will actually be in questions from us to you, unlike last time, where it was
in the random area.
Yes. Yeah. I put it up before we actually thought of the question, so
Okay.
that's what makes it a great question.
All right.
It was over there.
Well, yeah. Let's get playing some FF12, shall
Let's
we?
do it. Well, guys, enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show is produced by Joseph DeGolier and Caitlin Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGolier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show. And look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. Hey, just answer his question.
All right, so I did see your question, Solution J18. What scene are each of us excited or looking forward to the most in FF7's remake? Do you have any ideas as far as a scene, a particular scene from the
remake?
game?
Well, I think it'd just be cool to see the intro once again in high definition. Though we saw that in the PS3
Yeah.
thing.
I think it would be awesome to, I don't know, to see Tifa's
Tits?
breasts shaking on the airship after the big explosion.
Do you think they'll really do that again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gosh, you sound like such a pig when you say that.
No, I don't know. I'm thinking,
Man, we got to fix that chat bar next time. That's so embarrassing.
yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, you got 2 chat bars up, so you just picked the wrong one. I think.
I don't know. No, I'm looking forward to,
That's why we need a third monitor. We can
Probably
just have a
the-
monitor that isn't touched.
yeah, probably the final cutscene, honestly. The Sephiroth fight and the explosion of all the shit. And the live stream coming out, I think that's going to look really cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Thank God the Don Corneo Stinks fanfiction isn't real. That would be terrible in HD.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be disgusting in HD. I don't think they would do that. That would be AO. The rating.
Yeah, that would be.
Have you ever heard of an AO rated game?
A couple. I think I saw some on PS2.
Was it like the Playboy Mansion game?
I don't even think that was AO. I think
You
it
don't
was
think-
M.
really?
Yeah. Oh, let's look.
So now we got to look up if AO games actually exist. Games that are actually AO. That's a good question. Well, I'm glad someone watched something. Thanks, Solution. What is it? J18?
All nude cyber, all nude glamour, all nude Mickey, body language, critical point, crystal fantasy, cyber photographer, Fairhaven 2, Manhunt 2. Really? That was the original rating.
Manhunt 2 was rated AO?
They reduced it.
They probably brought up some other game. And we're like, come on, you could do it in this one. Was Manhunt the one where it's like you're on you're trying to get drugs and then you're like slaughtering people?
I don't think it's about drugs. I think it's
it was.
it's like a Thrasher film thing where they're filming you, and I think you're supposed to kill people to escape, but you end up killing everyone that captured you. I played through.
I really thought
both of the
Manhunt was the
games.
one where you like the powering fuel for you was like illicit drugs and stuff like that.
I don't think so.
I thought so. I know it's banned in New Zealand.
Manhunt.
Yeah, Manhunt.
It's pretty brutal.
I've never played it.
It would seem not as bad now, but
Jeremy SL for some unknown reason.
oh, nice.
Oh, thanks for leaving a review. Should leave another one. Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Solution. We'll be playing some 12 here in a bit, I'm sure. So
You should leave a question on our phone line.
yeah, do it. Call us up.
Keep it under 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Or 50 seconds. I think his phone might have cut off. Because I feel like Baindrum's message was a lot longer. You should check it. Check and see Baindrum's message. Because if Baindrum's message was longer... See, 40 seconds. So you can have it over. I think his phone cut off. I think it was coming from his end.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, so. All right.
Well, that was fun.
We gonna end this now?
Yeah, let's end it.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Guy. Really, thanks for watching. Thanks for leaving an iTunes review. That's helpful.